Young America Films presents the oldest film ever made in America.
The function of costume. The function of gestumes.
Bueller.
Please don't be a Centron production by the Centron Corporation.
Oh, jeez. My Giant, ladies and
It
gentlemen.
gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce to you George Johnson, a man who needs no introduction.
So why did I give
A
one?
man who is known far and wide for his after-dinner talks. A man who on every occasion
Eats his dinner.
has given the best that he has. I give you George Johnson.
Introduced
Sure,
twice?
everybody knows George Johnson, and it's certainly true
Cue the cross
that
dissolve.
George is
Cue the
known
cross
far
dissolve.
and wide for his after-dinner talks. Because George bores everybody stiff, has for years. He's usually referred to as Old Stone Face,
As opposed
and
to
is
Young
asked to
America
speak
Stone
only
Face.
because he's willing and available.
Some of the people of Africa are tall.
Africa, tall.
Others are very short.
Short. Got it.
Some are fat.
Fat.
Some are thin.
Slow down. You're going a mile a minute.
You might say that Africa is a mixture of people of different sizes and shapes.
Like that pocket square.
George's audience wish they were somewhere else.
Some of them small.
This guy's terrible. Let's get out of here.
Sometimes these
I can't. He's my cousin.
very few.
And we're to be married.
The trouble with George is he isn't interesting. His topic is interesting, but he doesn't put it across. Now here's a young speaker who is really
Wait a
in
minute.
demand.
They just threw an American flag
Because
behind
he
him.
is
If George had
interesting.
that, there'd be no stopping
As he
him.
talks, he paints a picture with words and with gestures.
And paint.
He leads his audience by the imagination until they almost believe they see the scene he describes.
Some of the people of Africa are very short,
Africa.
while some others
Short.
are very tall.
Tall.
Some of them are fat
Hey,
and
wait a
others
minute.
are thin. You might say Africa is a mixture of peoples of different sizes and shapes.
Unlike any place else on
Recognize
earth.
the speech? Yes, the words are the same as George Johnson's, but what a difference. John is good.
John Jordson.
The difference
Completely
between
different.
John and George is not in what they say, but in how they say it. John is animated. He looks alive.
Wait, they're two
George is
different
just
guys?
Talking. George keeps his body rigid and motionless.
As
It
indicated by
lacks
these
any
non-motion
expression
lines.
whatsoever. And when the body is tied up, the mind too is hampered.
Oh, jeez.
For freedom of the body helps in freeing the mind.
Should we be
A
watching
good
this?
speaker lets
back
his
in the sewer
mind
guy
and
from
body work
Futurama.
together to produce the desired results on his audience. For your audience must be impressed or you're wasting your breath. If you're to impress them, you must interest them. Motion attracts the attention and keeps interest. Ever see
Oh, let me
people
see.
look into
Let me
a
see.
store window?
Let me see.
Notice what stops them?
Confusing race
Usually
relations
it's something
displays?
that moves.
It's black. It's white. It's black.
Yes, motion.
Oh, Rocky and
attracts
Bullwinkle
your
is starting.
attention. And
Look
if
it
it's
up,
interesting enough, it will keep your attention.
It was a dark and stormy
A good
day.
speaker holds your attention partly by
Africa,
what he
tall,
says, and
short,
partly by the
fat,
way he looks
thin,
when he
American
says it.
flag.
I clutched a large wooden wheel in my hand and gazed out over the bow.
My name was Jack Sparrow, and I was wearing too much eye makeup.
Suppose you can't see him, but only hear what he has to say.
And over and
Africa,
down.
tall, short.
Soon my stomach likewise was going up.
Yes, he's lost a lot of his punch.
It was a bad day.
A good speaker should be seen as well as heard. The average speaker, such as you and I, is usually afraid to make use of bodily motion in making a speech. He fears he will look foolish, unnatural, and affected.
He fears his hands
So
may
he
kill
feebly
again.
waves a finger now and then to indicate that he's still alive, and lets it go at that.
But he's a hell of a dancer.
But watch that same speaker in a telephone conversation with someone he can't even see. By his expression and his gestures, he expresses mild surprise,
Can you hear my eyebrows? They're raising.
mirth,
You can't see it, but I'm mirthing now.
anxiety,
Bowel discomfort.
and even anger. His mind and his body are working together
Louder, sir.
because he's
Sir,
being
I
natural
think you have the
since he
receiver
knows
upside down.
nobody's watching him.
Live from our
Watch
spy
a pair of
cam,
ladies
hidden in this
discuss a
fire
new
hydrant.
spring outfit. If you think gesturing is unnatural, they're so interested in what they're talking about, they've forgotten someone might be watching them.
And breathing heavily.
Their minds and bodies are... Oops.
Busted!
Sorry, ladies. The odd thing is that even speakers like George usually unbend and speak normally in familiar surroundings. When George gets home from his speech, he's really forceful in telling his wife how well he thinks he spoke.
And what direction
how well he was
north is.
received by his large audience. The trick in using gestures is, of course, in using them correctly. Gestures generally fall in two main classes. The gesture used
11,
for description
12,
and the
13.
gesture used for
Yep,
emphasis.
all the stars are there.
The descriptive gesture is just what the name implies.
Borrowed
It
one
helps
from
the
Der
speaker
Fuhrer there.
lead his audience into the scene he describes by creating an imaginary picture.
On that early October morning, the air was clear and brisk.
The air was tall.
You could smell the
short,
bacon frying
fat.
over an open fire. And above us loomed the majestic Rockies, being awakened by the warm, gentle fingers of morning sun. And we stood there, the two of us, side by side, and didn't speak.
But be careful in your use of the descriptive gesture. Be careful that you don't lead attention away from yourself.
You mean on that wall?
Your audience will usually
that one over there?
follow your direction.
That wall?
And if you lead them off into the distance by looking in that direction, you may have trouble getting their interest back to you. Keep your eyes on the audience.
And keep your tie in the closet.
One of the greatest uses of the gesture is for
Best
emphasis.
advice I heard this whole
When
time.
what you have to say is important, and you want to make it seem that way.
Even if we had paid only $5 for it, instead of 500,000, we'd have been cheated.
Yeah, another early Mac adapter.
$500,000 for a plant that was practically bankrupt.
$500,000 for a plant?
No,
You got
gentlemen.
screwed.
There can be no justice until there is fair play for all parties concerned.
Speaking with gestures is speaking naturally. Speaking the way you speak on the telephone to someone you know.
Especially if you're just listening 90% of the time.
Using motions to help your audience
Spycam 2,
visualize what you're
tree
talking
vision.
about. The way you do when you describe your new clothes.
Will surely get you committed.
Yes, speaking with gestures is speaking naturally. The way you speak in
Flail
the
about
privacy of
wildly.
your own home, with your own family.
Wildly!
Use gestures to help free your body and your mind, so that what you say will sound and look real and
Doesn't
sincere.
look better at all. It might even be worse without that rope
Use
distracting
motion to
me.
attract and hold the attention of your audience.
Steady now. Steady.
Yes, you too can be an interesting speaker. One whom people will want to hear, about whom people will say, "This fellow's good." Then to you will come the satisfaction of knowing you are a good speaker.
Meanwhile, on the moon.
Having seen this motion picture, many of you in this audience will realize it was made especially for your benefit, to help you in your speech. Yes, this picture was aimed directly at you.
It's okay. Even I don't recognize myself without the rope on.
Suicide booth still open at this hour?
And you may go home and look in your mirror and say to yourself that with a little practice in the use of gestures, you might be the speaker you always thought you were.
Strong?
It doesn't make any difference whether they're tall or short.
Still couldn't
They
screw
come
the American
all
flag backdrop,
sizes in
huh?
Africa. I thank you.
And also cut your 10-minute speech down to the first 8 seconds.
And thus concludes another Nazi Iron Eagle presentation. Hail der Fuhrer!
Too much, too much.